What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new show, guys, and this show, guys, is coming to you in the form of the COD Room. Welcome to the COD Room, guys, the best Call of Duty podcast here on YouTube, and I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get into it. So guys, the COD Room is my newest show where we are going to be breaking down everything in the world of Call of Duty esports, Call of Duty in general as a game from a competitive perspective, from just a casual perspective. We're going to be breaking it all down and giving you a little bit of some insight into what it all means. Today in this first episode of the show though, we're going to be talking about a specific matchup between Atlanta Faze and LA Thieves. These are two of incredible teams, guys, that I watch very much so in a major way. And I've absolutely loved watching them and seeing their teams kind of evolve over time. And it's interesting, when we get to none other than Call of Duty Vanguard, a title that's gotten scrutinized in a number of ways. Me personally, I really love the title overall, and I think it's pretty exciting to watch from just from a competitive perspective as well. Yes, it's very fast paced, guys. Yes, there are many things about it that some people don't like. A lot of people wanted to go into the future somewhat or into, the modern day, whereas, of course, Activision went back into the past with another World War II title. And sure, I was a little bit critical of that as well. But nonetheless, I've got to say that overall, guys, I absolutely have loved Call of Duty and the direction in a number of ways that they've gone in, even though I have been critical of ways they've gone in as well. I think that Vanguard very well we could be seeing a real change after this year in Call of Duty as a whole. And sure, guys, it has not been perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There's been a lot of backlash in a number of ways, but I definitely wanted to go through this within this first segment of the show and really this episode as a whole, talking about each individual game as we see, as it comes out and such. Throughout the course of the Call of Duty League this season, leading us into the major. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to Major 1, which is going to be Optic, who's going to be doing that one, which is super exciting. But I really wanted to break down this matchup between these two juggernauts in the Call of Duty League. And so with that being said, guys, let's start off real quick with a listen in here from LA Thieves. So there you have it, guys. A nice listen in on LA Thieves and their comms there. Obviously, I think that this is a team, as we go through the course of this show, guys, the COD Room, we're going to be talking about everything in the world of Call of Duty, but we're also going to be talking a lot about the esports realm. And, guys, my YouTube channel here, Zero TV, started where we would actually casted games of StarCraft 2 at the highest level of StarCraft. And I would cast matches and things of that nature. And I really enjoyed that. I did it for about an entire year before we transitioned to doing some other things, talking about other games and such. And it's kind of led us to where we are now. But I wanted to get back into that. Not so much casting, but more talking about these games, talking about the players, the narratives going on, talking about individual play. And I'd love to have a real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below about it. The same thing can be said for, obviously, in my mind, I want to also talk to you guys about the future of Call of Duty, what that could look like here on the show. I want to talk about, different, like I said, narratives happening all over the Call of Duty scene, whether we're talking about Vanguard, whether we're talking about Warzone, the competitive scene. I really love talking about those things, and would love to have real conversations with all of you about that. But with that being said, guys, this matchup in a best of 5 here, Atlanta Faze and LA Thieves going at it here, guys, back and forth in a pretty major way here on Hardpoint. And just so you guys know, these are the Major 1 qualifiers, and this was played, of course, as one of those. Kenny going on a killing spree. Absolutely awesome. I love Kenny, guys, as a player. I think he's got, I think he's got real leadership ability, and has really shown it off over these past number of years, especially having, some new players coming into the fray with LA Thieves. I think that he has shown significant improvement in his leadership ability. But let's talk about, the rest of the guys on LA Thieves. I mean, you got, obviously, Octane. This guy's been in the league for a long time, and I think that he is something special without question. Envoy, the same exact thing, and then you've got Kenny, who is obviously their captain and leader, and Draza, who is a I think that this guy very well, sometimes he can be a little bit hit or miss, but I think when he is hot, he is really hot, and something that a player that obviously can slay in a significant way for this team. On the flip side, with Atlanta Faze, you got Celium, obviously R-Cities, Abizi, and Simp. I mean, these guys are the defending champions. They need no endorsement from me, but it's a special team to say the least. I mean, from the top down. Celium, guys, what an incredible player. I feel, when you think of Celium, you don't think of like this player that is significantly, going above and beyond when it comes to the comms, but he's just a pure out baller, straight up just, crushes it in a number of ways when he goes to actually, slang and such. R-Cities, obviously, I feel like R-Cities is kind of the backbone of this team, is a very special player in a number of ways. Obviously, guys, Abizi as well as Simp. I mean, I love Abizi for what he's done. Sometimes I feel like a lot of the credit goes to R-Cities as well as Simp for what, the success they've seen, even somewhat Celium. Abizi sometimes feels like he's kind of left in the background there, but I feel like he is an incredibly special player, underrated in a major way. And then, of course, guys, Simp. Simp is a force to be reckoned with, and there is absolutely no debate about it. I think that he is one of the best players I have seen ever in Call of Duty. Just the way, the flow of how he plays the game, it's something really special to behold without question, as we're coming into the end here of this first hard point at 2:38 all. Or obviously LA Thieves is kind of pulling a little bit ahead here as they get to the new hard point. It's definitely, this first game really came down to the wire without question, guys. Started off on a really exciting note. Obviously for these Major 1 qualifiers. And obviously, guys, we're going to be going over the qualifiers this upcoming weekend as well. You guys will have to check that out. LA Thieves pulls it out just barely. The clutch plays by LA Thieves, absolutely huge. You see the excitement from Draza. Beautifully played. And you can tell that FaZe in this moment are shell-shocked. I mean, obviously, they are shocked that they did not win this one. Obviously, now the score being 1-0. And then going into game number 2. Next is S&D on Desert Siege, guys, which S&D, to me, is the game mode that I have grown over time to just absolutely love. It is my favorite game mode, guys, of all time. Absolutely love it. And as we enter into game number 2 here, obviously, guys, these matches were played over, of course, past a weekend here, Major 1 qualifiers. And I wanted to, with this first episode of the show, guys, obviously I want to get a lot of questions and comments from you guys regarding, just things that you want to see out of this show moving forward. I want to certainly leave it somewhat open-ended so that you guys are able to kind of take in as much as you possibly can from the COD room. This, obviously, guys, being a show in which we break down film, but even more so than that, we talk about narratives, we talk about the individual players, the individual talent, the future of the Call of Duty League, the future of Call of Duty as a whole, and everything in that in those worlds, guys, even from the game, right? To what could be coming in the future, that being Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So obviously, guys, with that being said, it's a very exciting time to be a Call of Duty fan, in my opinion, even though a lot of people are, screaming that there's a lot of doom and gloom happening in the Call of Duty landscape. I will say that I believe that there are going to be greener pastures in the future. And I will say this as well. With Call of Duty Vanguard, I'm a fan of Call of Duty Vanguard. I think it's a lot of fun to play. Number one, it's fast paced. That's what I like. And then number two is, I didn't think I was going to like it. I really didn't, because a World War II title, I was thinking I wasn't probably going to like it that much. But at the end of the day, after getting my hands on it and playing this title, Vanguard is to me, the best World War II title that they've made for a long time in the Call of Duty franchise. And so, super exciting, guys. I think, this excites me kind of for the future, because it's a lot of unknowns here. The rumors of Modern Warfare 2 being the next title up and coming here in the future is definitely something that is interesting to me, and I'll be sure to keep you guys all up to speed and posted as we get more information about Call of Duty 2022. But yes, there is a lot of excitement in the community, without question, for whatever the next iteration is. And some people aren't excited about it. Some people are really concerned that this upcoming title could be, the end of COD as we know it. I did an 8 Below show with Synergy Icon, who's been a friend of mine for a while in the community. We go all the way back to like 2013 to 2015. We were in different Call of Duty teams together and esports organizations together. And he believes COD is dead at this point in time. It's dead in the water. And I told him that I 100% disagreed with that notion. I did not believe that that was the case at all. I thought that Call of Duty, there were elements of it that may be dead, but I believe that this community is way too strong for it just to die because of something that Activision or the developers, whatever the case may be sabotaging it in a number of ways. And we've already seen, obviously, the backlash that a lot of these, community members, those in the Call of Duty League like Nadeshot and Hex, and what they have said at this point in time. So with that being said, guys, let's jump into this. We're going to be kind of coming back and forth. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about all this in the comment section down below about the current state of Call of Duty. Is Call of Duty dead? What do you guys think? Let me know. But here we go. Obviously, guys, these matches have already happened. And, I just want to give you guys, not only, perspective on it, but, as we continue, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about just everything, from this match to all the matches that we talk about moving forward. And so I think here is where it starts getting interesting, because you start to see a little bit of some momentum shifting with Faze, or in Faze's favor. That's the thing when it comes to Call of Duty, guys. Momentum is a massive thing in Call of Duty from a competitive perspective. That momentum can swing in an absolutely huge way in a matter of no time. So here we go. One of the things I wonder is, should Envoy have been dropped? Is a big question of mine. I wonder. I will say this, guys. I love the way that LA Thieves is constructed. We kind of saw them get tested pretty early, and it's not about how well you do in these beginning tournaments. It's more about how much momentum you can build to the end. And that's why I feel that even though there's been a number of teams that have had shaky starts, Faze included, we can talk about Optic, of course, a lot of these teams having some, obviously having some issues with certain game modes in particular, or just clutching up at the end of the day in this game. And so that being said, I will say that I do believe, when we look at these when we look at these players as a whole and we look at the landscape of this thing in the Call of Duty League, I believe it's wide open. Because obviously you got the Toronto Ultra, Seattle Surge, Faze. I mean, all these teams, there is so much competition here. And it's so competitive now that there's no one clear team anymore in my mind that is just the dominant force to be reckoned with. Even though it's early, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, guys, that it's anyone's weekend, any individual weekend that comes up, guys. I don't think that, there's anyone that should be, we should be necessarily surprised about winning a tournament just because the nature of Vanguard and what this, how it is. I feel like it's going to be very difficult to stay on top the entirety of the year. And that's why I believe, Faze as well as Optic, don't count these guys out. Do not wake the sleeping giant is all I will say, because I believe at some point or another, they're going to get it together. And the same thing can definitely be said with the New York Subliners, especially. I really wouldn't want to wake that sleeping giant, because I think when they figure it out, whenever that is, they are going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with. And this is where we had LA Thieves, of course, tied this thing up. I'm excited to see them more so on LAN, obviously, guys, as obviously with the qualifiers, going to be, a little bit different. But when we get to the major, that's where it's going to be really exciting. I think that's the one that people are really going to be starting to talk about, obviously, is going to be the Optic Major 1. I think it's going to probably be it's going to absolutely slap in a major way, I think. No pun intended. I think it's going to be an awesome major. I think Hex and the boys over there, along with Hastro, are going to put on an absolute show for us, to say the least. But yeah, I feel like there are teams now that, there's so much competition now in the grand landscape. 1st to 6 rounds, obviously, guys, to win. Search and Destroy, like I said, being my favorite game mode in Call of Duty. I absolutely love Search and Destroy. I actually would prefer the Call of Duty League to just be Search and Destroy. I think it would actually make it, really interesting, because then you're just mastering that one game mode. But, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that as well, to kind of take the page out of CSGO's book, or out of Valorant's book, or, some of these other titles that do just search and destroy, will be very, very much so interesting. So we got a 1v3 here. Our cities now, it's like just a back and forth without question between these two juggernauts, who very well, guys, later on in the year, you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled for these two teams, I think, for sure. The level of competition. What a beautiful shot there by Octane. Absolutely awesome sniper shot. Beautiful. Love it. And that's what really got me into the Call of Duty scene, guys, was sniping. Trick shotting and sniping on Call of Duty. Primarily, it started with COD 4, but then, moved into Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, obviously were the two that I really got into in a pretty major way. And I think people in the Call of Duty community just want to see us go back to that. They want to see us go back to Call of Duty, kind of from the past. What made Call of Duty so special in the first place. That being, Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I think that's what people really wanted. As Arcides plants the bomb, 4v2. Very well played. You got a 4v1. Talk about just absolutely slapping in that round, 4-3. And the amount of mind games going on, guys, in each individual round, you can just kind of tell that these guys are trying to figure out which strats are going to work out best in order to achieve victory for that current round. Because when you think of 6 rounds, 6 different strats, right? Sometimes some of these teams may actually be doing the same strat multiple times, but I think the ones that are going to go the furthest are the ones that are innovating in a major way to strategizing every single round, as it's a quick 4v2 now. On the flip side of this, for LA Thieves, Celium Arcides are going to try to have to clutch up here to get this taken care of, as Octane is still taking care of the snipes. Now down to a 4v1, obviously, Celium by himself. What can you do when Octane is hunting you down? Get a headshot is what you got to do. Well played by Celium, but he's still got a long uphill battle here to get the W here. And go up 5-3, go up game point against LA Thieves, who are quickly becoming one of my favorite teams in the CDL, guys. I'm absolutely loving these guys. I think that they're a lot of fun to watch. I love the narratives around the team, and just 100 Thieves as a whole, guys. I love this organization. I think they're great. And they're a lot of fun to watch from multiple different, games that they have teams in. I love watching these guys. Now, part of me is a big time, Subliners fan, just simply because I love Crimsix, the greatest of all time. Clayster's a lot of fun to watch. And so I really have a lot of belief that the Subliners are going to get it together as time goes. You heard it here first, guys. So we got a 3v3 here. Simp struggling a little bit. As we got it down to a 3v1. Arcides hunting down Octane. So now you got a 5-4 lead right here for Faze as you get to game point in game number 2. So what do you do in this situation if you are LA Thieves? It's a tough one. It's tough. At this point, do you play it safe, or do you or are you going to come up with something really special? Are you going to kind of pull out your best strat right here? If it's me, I'm pulling out probably my best strategy that I've got at this point, because you're already down and you're going to want to have something. Now, a lot of these players have been talking about, some of them, some teams apparently were playing their weakest maps because they don't want to show off their strats for the major and such, which I feel like you just got to keep getting better over time. It's kind of like in the NFL. I mean, you might lose one week early on in the season, but you want to build momentum as you go towards the end, and maybe some of these teams are thinking the same thing. As we got a 2v2 here. Simp and Celium going up against Octane and Kenny. Here we go. Massive plays, when we talk about clutch. You're going to have to be clutch here now, Octane, because this is going to be massive. If he can pull this one off, he's not able to. As Faze win game number 2, tying up this series 1-1 in the Major 1 qualifiers. Who's going to make it to Major 1 against Optic? Can you imagine a Major 1 that's Optic's game, Optic's, homestand essentially, and they're not in it? Like, if they don't qualify for it, I feel like they will get it together at some point. I don't know how many teams are going to be making it to the who are going to qualify for Major 1, but it's going to be interesting to say the least. On to game number 3. So now for game number 3, guys, as we are tied 1-1, we move into Tuscan Control. And let me tell you, excited with this one. This was a pretty intense one as this series went on. Wow, what an awesome series. And that's why, guys, I made this the first, episode of the COD Room around this series, because I thought it was one of the best. There were a lot of great matchups this past weekend, guys, among the best teams in the world at Call of Duty. And I just thought that, some of these earlier matches and earlier, games early in the season, a lot of times are really cool to like go back on and watch because you kind of can see, like I said, those narratives start to build over time. Obviously, Simp right now is, supposedly the being labeled the villain now, which I'm not sure exactly why he's kind of taken on that role. If he wants to kind of be like some of these other players like Aches or maybe even like a Crim6. You know, it's hard to say now that he's won a chip. And when I say that, guys, I mean, I'm talking the Super Bowl of Call of Duty, that being COD Champs. COD Champs is the Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it, no other tournament the entire year matters like that one does. Every tournament matters, but COD Champs is where it is the bread and butter. It is the creme of the creme, the top of the line, what you want to win. If you don't, and I know the narrative's kind of changed a little bit around COD Champs. It used to be, hey, we don't care if we win COD Champs, we just want to win tournaments and such. No, that has changed though. Now the narrative is more so like, look, even if we don't win these other tournaments, it's fine because then COD Champs comes along and that's the big one and that's the one we want to win. You want to win along the way because you're learning things, you're playing at the highest level, you're playing against these, other, teams and individuals, learning, how to win. And so with that being said, we've got Control here. And Draza really, in this matchup in particular, between Atlanta Faze, he really showed some great plays in my mind. I haven't been critical of Draza. I think that he's, I guess don't have a lot of information on him. I don't have a lot of, I haven't watched him really watched him closely in a major way. But the team that he is on, and I think that he is, just by watching, from this past week in the Major 1 qualifiers, I feel really good about him moving forward with this team. They feel balanced to me, which I think is important for this game in particular. I mean, it's important for any game, but I think especially for Vanguard, with how fast-paced this title is and how quick the time to kill is, I think you want to make sure that you've got a number of guides that, that obviously guys that can slay, guys that can really spread the map and can create some problems logistically for the other opposing team. And I feel like you get that with certainly with Thieves. I think you get it as well with Faze. I mean, Faze is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and there is absolutely no debate about it, guys, down the stretch. Now, what are my thoughts on repeating in Call of Duty? And that's a big question, guys, because I think repeating in Call of Duty is definitely something that's going to get tougher and tougher over the years. We saw Dallas Empire. I mean, what an incredible team. It's unfortunate that they're no longer a team, but nonetheless, they were unbelievable winning that first COD Champs for the Call of Duty League. And then obviously Faze coming in, beating them for that second Call of Duty Champs. And now, I mean, in the third season of, the Call of Duty League, I'm really excited to see what happens moving forward, because the competition is obviously, because of the, how many teams there are, the competition is narrowing down now. And so much so that there's a real almost change of, a passing of the torch from the old players to the new players now. We're seeing so many young players and just young guns that are crushing it in a major way in the CDL. It's unreal. That being said, here we go. Once again, Faze is up 1-0 here on Control, as they're trying to take A at this point in time. What I love, though, about this matchup overall is just the trading back and forth. There were so many, peaks and valleys of this match, as in any match, but really there was just so much back and forth between these two teams. I feel like when we think about it, and I think, moving forward, I think there's going to be, like, these two are very much so close to being, on the same playing field. They both play, very smart, fast, and I think these two teams are going to be a couple of teams to be reckoned with, as the CDL continues into the future. And Faze captures all the zones. Whew. Man, talk about all smiles from Faze at this point in time, guys. All smiles. And there should be. I mean, look, these guys are defending champions. There's going to be a swagger about that. There's going to be an excitement about that. That, hey, at any moment, they kind of remind me, of some of these, like the Kansas City Chiefs. At any moment, they could just start taking off and dropping a number of points on you in a matter of moments. A team that just a year ago I didn't really think was really there yet. But how things have changed, and just when, even when 100 Thieves was a part of the CWL, the Call of Duty League, I thought they were a pretty special team. And Kenny has been, a part of this team for so long, it's felt like, on and off, obviously, when 100 Thieves wasn't in the CDL at first. But I absolutely love what they've done with this roster. And I am really excited. They've got some incredible players. I can't wait to see what happens. Who's going to take Faze out? Who's going to be the team that really steps up to the plate to say, hey, we can compete against these guys in a major way? They won that battle, but that doesn't mean they won the war yet. And that's what's going to be really interesting as the narratives move forward, because these guys are going to be going back to the drawing board. They're going to figure out, hey, what did we do right, wrong, and what can we do better moving forward, as they should. With that being said, we are now moving on to map number 4. Game number 4. Let's get into it. And by the way, I don't know about you guys, I'm not a huge fan of Control. I think Control is a fine game mode. Like, don't get me wrong. But for competitive, I would rather them just have Hardpoint and S&D. And I know they want to have 3. But I wouldn't mind them going back and forth between Hardpoint and S&D. And like I said, to me, I would love them just to have S&D as a whole. I think that would be perfect. Now, this is where it gets interesting, guys. And I've noticed that when it comes to Control, I mean, we can tell already that Atlanta Faze, I think, is going to be, without question, one of the best in the game when it comes to Control. They absolutely mollywopped LAT in Control. But it's the other game modes which is kind of interesting. S&D as well as Hardpoint, it's kind of a toss-up when it comes to Atlanta Faze. Now, Faze, if they only got Control, I mean, I think that they would absolutely, they could win the chip for sure if we just had Control. But that being said, we got these other couple of game modes, and I mean, you're going to have to be a master of all 3 of those if you want to win the championship this year with the level of competition in the league. So, with this game number 4 happening at this point, 50-9 at this point, and counting for Faze as they are really pushing the hard point. You can see the rotation starting to slowly happen here now as a couple of Faze get killed there, as the change is obviously happening as Hardpoint is moving here, and you've got LAT all over it. And this is where LAT is able to kind of start, making a little bit of some ground. But You know, and that's the thing though, guys, is that, you know, when it comes to Faze at this point, my only question is, it's not so much like a consistency thing, it's just more so, are they going to be able to, obviously, if they're amazing at control and they beat everybody at control, can they beat everybody at some of these other game modes like S&D as well as Hardpoint? That's my big question, because and obviously, guys, you know, we're on the very early stages of Call of Duty Vanguard in the competitive scene. For the Call of Duty League, obviously, you know, it's very early, but from what we're taking from it right here, right now, they're going to have to improve, you know, some of their S&D. They're going to have to improve, obviously, some of their hardpoint as well. I think that FaZe is going to figure it out, and I think LAT is going to figure out as well, without question. Because at this very juncture in time, FaZe is in control, right? 97, 100, you know, 100 to 32 and counting for FaZe at this point in time. They're up 2-1. They're on match point. You know, you win this and you're moving on.
Where you love to see it. Let's see what the birthday boy's going to say for himself with a very quick listen in with Atlanta Faze.
Jarvis crouching on He's back half one time. You should have Jarvis. Yeah, I'm gonna stay out. I'm at time. I'm looking mid. I'm time to He wants secret. Behind me, back door. Watch out. Yeah, try to make sure home left. Oh, yo,
it's not over till it's over. And that is, without question, the truth of this thing. As they break it down to 114 to 51, FaZe is still rotating properly. They're doing the things that they got to do. But now LAT, they're going to try. They're obviously right at this point in time, Atlanta FaZe is keeping that, you know, everything in front of them. Let's go to the listen in.
Frantic comms chance, lead still developing. They've got a lot of control, and I mean, I'm just trying to piece together like the absolute pandemonium that is this map, and what the best way to really hold these kinds of points up.
I mean, honestly, I would just say that's a clean rotation, right? Anytime you're hearing in the callouts your team telling you that you need.
So, obviously, guys, FaZe, this is where it starts to get really interesting, because, you know, point by point, here comes LAT. They're slowly but surely, they're trying to get it back together. They're trying. They're rotating. We can see that they're rotating. FaZe is getting on the hard point first. But obviously, when we're talking about from a you know, outslaying the other team at this point, Kenny, Draza, you know, is a beast, guys. I love this. I'm starting to really like this kid. I think he has got something really special about him. A real, like I said, God-given ability, which all these guys do without question. But now here we go. 142 to 82 at this point. Still, it's FaZe's game to lose without question. Just got to continue rotating, continue communicating. But what I love about this LAT team, guys, is this. They don't give up. They aren't shook. They are, you know, understanding that they are playing the world champions of Call of Duty. They understand that. They understand that this is going to be an uphill ordeal. And at the same time, they are, you know, they're down in a pretty significant way. And Simp goes beast mode here. He, like, you know, probably his best plays of the entire series happen here in game number 4, which I think says something about Simp. He continues to get hot as time goes into the game. But here we go. 172 to 85 and counting still for FaZe, as LAT is still trying to find their ground here, trying to figure out what they've got to do in order to get back into this matchup, because it's about to go, it's pushing 200. We're at 189 at this point in time for FaZe. But like I said, guys, all it takes is a momentum swing to happen. And once that swing happens, and you hold the line and you make sure that you are outslaying the opponent, you'll be in a good spot. And as you can see, I mean, they're still trading pretty well, but this is where LAT really is able to kind of pull back into this thing. They're able to get back into the game. It's 193 to 108 and counting for LAT, as Faze is now about to cross that 200 mark. They do continue to go up. 19 seconds left on the current hard point. We're here, guys, for the Major 1 qualifiers. Week 1 between LAT and Atlanta Faze. Game number 4, match point. Faze is on the cusp to get back into this thing. They need less than 50 points to win this thing and close this thing out. And at this point in time, the hard point, they are over 100 points ahead of LAT. It is Faze's game to lose, and there's no question about it. So now, goes 234 to 126, and here we go. They've got streaks. These guys got everything that they need at this point in this juncture in time, and here comes LAT. You got to keep your composure, but here we go. Faze. I mean, it's Faze across the board once again. Arcity's jumping on the hard point, gets a point. You know, it's 237 to 135. Okay, Faze is still feeling good about this, without question. Absolutely just outslaying at this point. A multi-kill. Crushing it. And Faze win. But with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the COD Room. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, guys. Helps out the YouTube channel a massive way. Subscribe if you're new. If you hit that subscribe button, you'll get notified every single time we have a new video that goes up on the channel. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate all of you so much for all the support you guys have been giving me. Stay positive. Just keep grinding. And as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.